Happy Fri-Yay, friends! Okay, today we are going to be featuring the August 2026 product of the month, and it is a wowie one. It is this specialty paper called Glow of Harvest, and we're going to use it today to make a super simple slimline card that I think you're really going to love. So let's get started. Here is this beautiful paper. So this is Glow of Harvest. It's our August 2026 product of the month, and I hope the camera will pick up some of this sheen, this shine. Oh, in person it is just stunning. I think any picture that you'll see of it, or even any video that you'll see of it, just does not do it justice for when you see it in person. It's just really gorgeous. So this is single-sided paper. Now that is a plus in my book, because then I don't have to decide which of the prints that I will use. Do you see that shine? I think this pumpkin is my favorite of the prints. So you get 6 different prints, 2 of each, and because it's this shimmery sheen, we'll call it, it is a specialty paper, and so you get 2 of each in this design, and this is our August 2026 product of the month. So you can purchase this. It's a purchase with purchase for just $5 with your $75 or more order in my online store. So you can find the links to all that below this video. You can also find them on my blog at stampinqueenbee.com. Now, that also brings me to your reminder, because I know we have some new folks here. So if you are new, you'll want to make sure and check out my blog, because you can subscribe for free to my email newsletter. It's a weekly, what I call my Buzz Bulletin, and I send out the tutorial measurements for the cards that I share each week for free. You can print them, they're in PDF form, and they've got all of the pictures of today's project, of each week's project. They've got the step-by-step instructions, and of course all the measurements and the supply list. So you'll want to check that out. If you're not already an email subscriber, you will definitely not want to miss that for sure. And past ones are all held on my blog as well, so you can check out some of our past projects as well. But this paper is today's featured product, and this is the fun card we're gonna make. So a little something to say hello, and it is this fun slimline card, and it's really featuring that beautiful designer series paper. I love when cards can show it off on both sides, right? And so using this designer paper, you can see in the card as I move it around, you can really see how that shine picks up the light. So I'm also going to be using some products from our Simply Leaves set. So it's a stamp set with a coordinating punch. So it will punch out some of these fun leaf shapes. So those are what I'll be featuring today. I know some of you love to hear that up front, and of course see today's beautiful project, right? So this slimline card, it will fit in your standard envelope that you could get at any like office supply store. I think they call it a number 6 envelope. It's like 6.5 by 3.5, and all of that is on the measurements, but this will just tuck right in. So we're gonna decorate that envelope so they coordinate, but it will just mail super simply and easy peasy, right? So that's a good plus. So let's grab that designer paper, and which print should we use? So I will show you at the end all the cards I've been making. I've used all the prints, so this will work really with any of them. So the first thing I did was I grabbed this pumpkin print. Now there aren't any dies or anything that go with this paper, but they are really easy to hand cut out. So I did that ahead of time to save us some time, but I just took the entire sheet of this and I just hand cut. I sat while I was, watching some YouTube videos or TV or whatever, and I just sat and hand cut those out with my detail scissors, and they just cut out really easily. So I do also cut out even these ones at the top or on the sides. If they are cut off a bit, they work great for layering. So I could, you know, take these and kind of layer a couple of these up, and so then it'll look like I have 3 pumpkins there, even though one is just kind of like a half pumpkin, right? So I do cut all those out. I did cut out the leaves that are in there, and then I do have the little flowers saved to maybe use on another project later. So that was kind of my step 1, was hand cutting out this whole paper. Now, if you don't want to do that, that's okay. We could do some stamping in place of where I used those cutouts. That's not pertinent to today's project. But I really loved these pieces that had like the flowers. This one has some acorns. This piece and this piece here where they have just that hint of some Cajun craze. So let's just use this one today. And I'm gonna grab my paper trimmer. So let's make our card base first. Now, I am all about trying to not have leftover pieces. I just like nice clean cuts that use the paper in such a smart way, right? So I've got my 12 by 12 full-size sheet of this specialty paper, and I'm just gonna cut it in half twice. And all these measurements, of course, will be on the tutorial that you can print out. So I've cut it in half once, and I'm cutting it in half a second time. And so now I have this 6 by 6 leftover square, right? So I'm just gonna go ahead and score this in half, right? Make sure we score and not cut. If you saw my Facebook post earlier this week, you saw a fun post about that, right? So we always got to make sure, right, that we are using the right blade. So we've got this score mark down the middle, and now we're just going to take this and fold this in half and burnish this right across, just like so. And that is our easy peasy slimline base. Now, you could make this a little bigger if you wanted to, you know, an 1/8 or a 1/16 here or there to fill up the envelope. But here's the thing, I love no paper waste. So when you do it in a 6 by 6 square, fold it in half, scored and fold in half, it'll slip right in with lots of room. So if you're adding, you know, dimension and embellishments and all the things, it's really easy for your envelope. And then you're not having wasted paper scraps later on. So that is why I chose that measurement. So now we're gonna take, and I already did, like I said, cut out some pieces here, and I've also already die cut a banner. So this banner comes from Nested Essentials Dies. It's this second largest banner here, and that is just some Cajun Craze cardstock. So we've got that. And then I brought in another paper pack that's a fun one. This one is called Natural Hues. Natural Hues. And it is this really pretty kind of textured paper. It comes in 3 colors. So do you see all that kind of texture, like the fibers of the paper is really, really pretty, right? Here's another one. And then what I did is I took my punch here, and this is that leaf, that Simply Leaves punch, and all I did was punch out a leaf from that textured paper. Okay, so there's our leaf. That was easy. And then we're gonna bring in some stamps. So we've got our leaf stamp. This is like the veins of the leaf, and that's from, again, that Simply Leaves stamp set, and it's this leaf vein, like the inside part of the leaf, right? And I'm gonna bring some Cajun Craze here, and we're just gonna stamp this right in the center of our leaf. And it's just gonna give us that little bit of detail on our leaf. What's nice about this is it still shows the texture and the fibers of that paper that we punched this from. And that paper is, I think, on the last chance list. So you may want to grab that, especially with our paper sale that's going on right now. If you're watching this at the time of the video, lots of fun promotions going on. So I'm going to bring a piece of grid paper here, and I grabbed a sponge dauber. This is my Cajun Craze sponge dauber. I'm just going to get a little bit of Cajun Craze ink, and I'm just going to go all along the edges of my leaf here. So we're just giving it just a little bit of light sponging, light daubing all around. And so this is just going to help to, you can make that as dark or as light as you want, but that's just going to help to give our leaf a little bit of border, a little bit of dimension, so that when we layer it on here, it pops out, right? It doesn't blend in. You've got kind of that little bit of an outline on that leaf. And then let's grab a piece of basic white. So you just need, you know, a little scrap or something. So let me just grab that little scrap. And I've got my sentiment here. This is a big scrap, but it was handy, right? And I'm just gonna ink this up on that Cajun Craze. And we're just gonna stamp this right down onto our basic white. I'm gonna close this ink pad up. I'm gonna grab my handy detail scissors here, and we're just gonna hand cut this sentiment out. It's a really easy one. There's not a lot of loops and bumps and things, so we're just gonna easily hand cut this out real quick. And I just like to move my paper, but also kind of keep my paper lined in the center of my scissors here. So kind of in this part of the scissors. I just feel like I have a little more control that way, but we'll just kind of go around this, and just as quick as that, we've got our hand cut out sentiment. And it doesn't need to be totally perfect. It's gonna sort of blend in with the background of our paper and all the things. So now we've got all of these pieces, and we can start putting this simple slimline together. So I'm just gonna grab my bone folder once more, and let's give this a good burnish on each of those sides so that it lays a bit flatter. We're gonna take our liquid glue here and our banner. Now, normally we would put our banner like at the top, and you could totally do that, but we're gonna use our banner on the side today. So we're just gonna give this a little bit of liquid glue there. And we're just gonna line this up all the way to the edge of our slimline here. And then go ahead and push that down. And the liquid glue gives us that little bit of wiggle room to adjust this all the way to that edge. So now we kind of have that banner going across. Then we're gonna take our sentiment here, and I've got mini Stampin' Dimensionals here, a brand new pack of these. So we're going to just go ahead and put our mini dimensionals all along our sentiment here. And they're mini, so they are kind of tiny, right, to grab. So just do it carefully, right? Or use your take your pick tool if you need. And then I'm just gonna put this right in kind of that center of where that banner is. So we'll just push that down. And then we're going to add dimensionals to the back of our leaf here. And this card, what I love is this card comes together real simple, real quick, and you can showcase that paper so beautifully. It's like the focus of our project, right? The feature, the wow of this project. Okay, and it's fun when our card is in a different shape, right? So we're just gonna kind of put this at an angle right below the sentiment there. We're gonna add a bow here, so we wanna just make sure we have enough room for that bow. And then we're gonna grab one of these leaves that we cut out, these little sprigs, and this is gonna go kind of across, right? Across the top of our sentiment. So we just need a couple of those mini dimensionals for this part, like 2 maybe, right? And this bottom part doesn't need one because it's going to kind of tuck under a little bit. So we're just kind of tuck that and put that on the top here of our sentiment. That was sure easy. And then we'll take our liquid glue again, and we're going to grab a pumpkin for the inside. So any one of your pumpkins, but I like to first look for like these ones that are kind of like a half pumpkin, right? That would go on the side. So this could go up at the top, up at the bottom. If we had one, like on my example, there's one that's cut on from the other side, but let's just use this one today. So we'll just add a little bit of liquid glue here. And I think we'll just put this one kind of in the middle. And so I'm just lining this up with that score line, pushing that down. I still have plenty of room to write a message. And then because it's that half one, it just looks like it's kind of coming from the side of our card. So either way, left or right, here's my example. So that one was from the right side of that paper. And so either way, you can use those half cuts to just kind of put inside your card, right? So we're done with those. And now we're just gonna put finishing touches. So I've used some linen thread. You know I love to pre-tie my bows so they're just ready to go. So these I have already attached to some mini glue dots. So that's what I like to do also if I'm like watching a show or something. There's a mini glue dot you can see already on the back of there, and I'm just going to stick that double linen bow that I tied right to the stem of my leaf. So it just gives it just a little texture, a little pizzazz. And having those bows ready to go makes it so easy. And then for our embellishments, because of course we need to finish with some bling, I grabbed the Sunset Sparkle sequins. Now these are Cloud Cover, Timid Tiger, Strawberry Slush, and Clear. But the strawberry slush on this paper looks a bit like Cajun crepes. So that's what I ended up using. And so try out when you have these. What's great is our embellishments mostly come on these carrier sheets that are clear. So it's really easy that you could line up and see, do they match, right, with your project. So we're gonna use 3 of these sequins. So I'm just gonna put a couple here at the bottom. And then one more I'm gonna put right under our sentiment, like between the sentiment and the leaf. So we kind of have that triangle of embellishments there. So Sunset Sparkle sequins for the win, right? The clear would work too, but I loved that Strawberry Slush because it really kind of takes on that look of Cajun craze against this pretty paper. So that is our card, and I want to tell you that I have been busy. So look at how many of these, and they come together so quickly, but how many of these that you could use with just a few of these beautiful pieces of that designer paper, right? It's like, oh, it looks so pretty, and kind of just gives us that great look of fall, right, as we ease into that next season. So I hope you loved this paper as much as I did. I hope you are inspired to make some slimline cards. They are fun. I kind of love getting different shaped cards in the mail. It just makes it a little extra special, right? So happy Fri-Yay. Thank you so much for liking and subscribing, taking my classes, helping me with my business, all of the things. I appreciate you guys so much. I say we have the best crafty community here, our crafty hive, right? All right, have a great weekend, and I will see you guys soon.